Hi, welcome on board of the Oracle boat. My name is Natalia. I'm going to do a tarot reading today for the year 2025. This is a tarot reading based already on some dreams that I had. When it comes to global readings, I rely on dreams first of all, and I use cards in order to verify and specify information that I have received. This is going to be a series of readings as the information keeps flowing within my dreams. I have already recorded one video on the global events within the year of 2025. I'm going to link it below, and if you are interested in watching that video, you can always go back and watch that one as well. Also, if you would like to book me for a personal reading, the link to book the reading is also below this video. So if that's something you're interested, you can go ahead and book me online. But today we will focus on the year 2025. There is going to be more videos like this, most likely, so stay tuned. Like I said before, the way I do readings for global events is based on dreams first of all, then I specify and verify with the tarot cards. So I had one dream about something that happened in Europe, and I believe this is probably happening in the year 2025, and so I was in Amsterdam, and I was there in a tall building with big glass windows where I could see very well what was happening on the outside. It was a nice and bright and sunny day at the time, and I noticed on the horizon there was a big smoke cloud coming through. At first I thought it was possibly an explosion, but I did think it through, and the way I recall it, it's when you see an explosion, let's say if that was a nuclear weapon, I would see a mushroom cloud somewhere in a precise place. But what I have seen was an actual wave of a cloud, as if there was a big cloud on the entire horizon coming our way, and I was in Amsterdam at the time, and the cloud was very thick. It was very dark grey, very, very thick cloud with some smaller clouds, or even something was shooting off of that cloud. It kind of looked like eruption. When you see an eruption, the cloud, very often, there's a big cloud, and then you have things that are shooting off from that cloud, like little explosions, or maybe possibly a lava, or it was very hard to tell specifically what that was. But the interesting thing was that the cloud was covering the entire horizon, and it was approaching. So it wasn't something that I could see in a point of the horizon, that there was an explosion in one point of the horizon. The entire horizon was covered by a thick cloud that was getting closer, and there were little smokes coming out of, well, little, probably not so little. When you look at things at the horizon, they look little. But if you're actually close to the object, whether it's a house or a tree, it wouldn't look like that. It would be much bigger than yourself. So I've seen things coming off of that cloud, and the cloud was thick enough to cover the entire sky, and very soon the day became a night. And I remember very well that I was then in an office that was in Amsterdam, and there were people talking about, that's funny because it linked to my previous reading on Donald Trump, when I did a reading on his election, where I said that he would make someone walk the plank, and that had something to do with international relationships. So basically he would get rid of some allies or possibly decide that there is no more support. He would end some cooperation, maybe some help, and in some ways that was linked to this situation. Someone in the office told me that, you remember, walk the plank, walk the plank. That is the consequence. Sometimes the dreams, they have symbolic value. They don't often, very often they don't show you things literally the way they actually are. Sometimes like you could read this thick cloud as a disinformation, as something that covers the sky, covers the light, puts you in the darkness. That could be some sort of a trouble, maybe possibly economical trouble, but I'm going to stick with the cloud. I'm going to just say it as it is, because as soon as I'm making assumptions, those kind of visions, they seem to get off rail. So the only thing I'm going to put out there is that this could be a symbolic value. This could be symbolic message that should not be read, possibly directly, but it also could be. It also could be. So, as I normally do with visions like this, I try to verify it. It's very beneficial if you do any of the divination arts to develop more than one method in order to verify what it is that comes through. For me, that second method is tarot. And today I've done a tarot reading on whether there is actually a bomb being dropped somewhere in within EU in the year 2025. And it's interesting. I don't see a bomb as such, but what I do see is a dark cloud that covers the sky. And there is a big feeling of grief and a loss and despair and the panic as well. The dreams of a cloud that covers the entire sky is not something new for me. It was kind of hunting me down since the year 2022, 2021, where I would wake up in the middle of the day, 11, or actually the last time I've had it, let's just be more up to date. Last dream I've had about the sky being covered by a dark, thick cloud, I realized that it's 3 p.m. It was 3 p.m. and I've been around for a couple of hours and it's been pitch dark, as if it was night time. And I realized, hang on a moment, it should have been bright, it should have been light, there should be light outside because of the time of the day. And another thing that I remember from dreams of the thick dark clouds is that there was a lot of panic, and there was a lot of panic around. People were grabbing whatever they could, not always the belongings that belonged to them. Sometimes they would be stealing, they would be just taking anything that they find handy. And there was that silence. There was the silence and the unease, because nobody wanted to talk about it, but everybody knew things are not good. And everybody was trying to grab things that they find useful for their survival, regardless of who those things would belong to. And they were making their way somewhere. And here we have the thick cloud covering the sky. But also I've seen something very interesting within that dark cloud, because I've been trying to get attention of other people, and I've been trying to speak to them like, hey, it's middle of the day and there's no daylight, it looks like it's the middle of the night, which was kind of obvious for everyone, and nobody really wanted to have a conversation about it. Everyone was busy about their own taking care of their own business. And I took a look at the sky one more time, and I noticed that there were stars, and the stars in the sky were pixelated. And I took a closer look at those stars, and I realized that they were pixelated because they were a projection that was not even properly done, probably projection from some sort of a projector, and the image of the stars was not, the resolution of it wasn't appropriate for the project, if you can call it this way. And the stars were pixelated, and I was like, guys, this is a fraud. This is like 2020 of some sort. And the year 2025 is in a way another 2020, is in a way another 1939. And the thick clouds covering the sky, I'm trying to make sense of it, and in a way, some of the ideas that are coming to my head, I would really like to reject them immediately. And it's hard to be faithful to the visions that I get. So I'm going to leave it as it is, and we'll see what that meant after all. But if there was an explosion, if there was a bomb being dropped, I would see different cards, slightly different cards. This card, what I do have confirmation on, is the cloud, the thick cloud that is covering the sky. Sometimes the volcanic eruption can cause this. I don't know how very likely it is in Amsterdam to have a volcanic cloud covering the sky to the point that there is no daylight. Could that be a bomb that was supposed to be dropped but was neutralized somewhere in the skies, and this is the aftermath? But I don't see a bomb being dropped as such. If I did have the cards that were confirming this, then I would expect the Tower card. I would expect Ten of Swords. I would expect different kind of cards than this. This only confirms that yes, there is a despair. Yes, the situation is really not great. Look at that. Three of Swords is a card of grief. It's the energy of everything. The world has collapsed. A collapse of some sort, yes? But not necessarily. This is not necessarily the energy of a bomb being dropped. So this is giving me some sort of a hope. And then I have the Queen of Chalices reversed. The Queen of Chalices reversed. The chalices very often talk about substance. We are talking about something that goes through the air, but the chalices can talk about the substance that has some sort of properties. Not always the good kind of properties. But also we have the Queen of Cups. Sometimes it represents a blonde woman. And we have the Emperor. The Emperor was also in reversed. If there is some sort of conflict, then obviously any Emperor, any court card would come up in reverse, such as these came up. And this could indicate that this is happening in the area where we have some sort of royal family, rulership, or some sort of monarchy going on. And this setup is a queen and a king, so that very strongly suggests that there is some sort of monarchy. This could be the place that it is taking place. This could symbolize the actual place, like a country where this is happening. So my next question was, what is the area, what is the country that is going to be the most affected? And the first thing that came up is the King of Chalices. Now take a look at this card. What is the characteristic thing in this card? He is looking at the boat. The boat is somewhere placed on the hill. The king of chalices himself is sitting on the water on some sort of platform with tools. The boats, that could be a characteristic of the place. There is a few countries where we have very well-developed canal infrastructures where there is a lot of houseboats. One of those countries is United Kingdom, but another one of these countries is also Holland, Amsterdam. And there is a lot of barges, canal boats, narrow boats over there. So this could be this could symbolize the place, the country, where there is a lot of boats, where there is like a strong infrastructure that involves boats. So that's one thing that I wanted to talk about. I think I'm going to leave it there. But there is another thing, another dream that I had that I would like to verify also, and that is to do with EU. So in the year 2022, before 2022, I think that was 2021, I made a reading for the year 2022, and I had predicted collapse of unions. So that could symbolize basically the conflict between the countries. I did also predict a major war breaking out in that time, and 2 or 3 months later Russia invaded Ukraine again. But I did predict that there was something going to happen, something happening within EU. Last time I had a dream when I've been speaking to one of the people who were giving me information, and that person said, "You remember when you made the reading about EU collapsing? You've been a bit too fast because it didn't come up just then yet, but it is coming up now." So I suspect we are talking about the year 2025. And let's try to verify this, whether the EU, United Europe, EU, is going to collapse. Let's try to verify if this is actually happening in the year 2025. Is EU collapsing? Is it at the beginning of the end? What is happening within EU in the year of 2025? Let's see. Let's see what is happening within EU in the year 2025. Right, so first of all, there is no major arcana. We've got reversed, everything reversed. Six of Swords reversed. It seems that there is the need, at least from one of the countries, maybe more than one of the countries, of taking a step back, withdrawing from the contract, trying to finish the relationship, trying to get out. Someone is trying to get out. Some country, maybe more than one, would like to get out of EU. When it is coming in, when this card is coming in reversed, there is that intention, and there is that need of abandoning the relations, union, in United Union, by at least one of the countries. However, the exit is very difficult. Getting out from EU is very difficult, and it might have something to do with the investment and the money, financial situation as well. There is definitely the tendency of I would like to leave. I would like to withdraw my some countries, or one country would like to leave, abandon EU, but also something that I see here is that there is a need to isolate. One of the main values, ideas of EU was open borders, Schengen. Schengen area, I think that's what it's called. So basically, being able for any of the citizens of the countries that are within EU were supposed to be able to travel freely from one country to another, to be able to work in a different country that is also a part of EU. And with these cards coming up in reverse, this opportunity is being taken away. So for some reason, some countries are closing their borders. Could that be because of the political situation? I'm not quite sure. So as I said before, I do not see actual major arcanas here. I would still always trust my dreams a lot more than I would trust my own interpretation of the cards. However, I don't believe structures such as EU would collapse just like that within one day. I think this would be a longer process. Perhaps it has already started with Brexit. Perhaps it is already happening step by step. Maybe it's not something that can be done within one day where everyone decides, hey, we're not in the EU anymore. Even Brexit took quite a long time, and that was only one country leaving the EU. But definitely there is the weakening of the structures, there is the weakening of the union. One or more countries want to leave, but it is challenging. It is becoming toxic, it is becoming inconvenient, and it is becoming not beneficial to be within EU. But it is hard to retreat. It is hard to just go back to the way things were. But definitely I can see that there is an energy of one or more countries trying to pull back and gain their freedom back. Let's see, what else can we specify here? Let's see what is causing it. Let's see what is the reason. What is the reason of the trend? Why is EU weakening? Why the borders are closing? Why countries want to leave EU? what is the reason of the slow decay of EU in the year 2025? Because obviously things haven't been great for a while, for multiple reasons, but what's the reason for it in the year 2025? What is the reason of the collapse of an EU system in the year 2025? Now we're talking a major arcana, all of. Okay. Right. Perhaps there is something bigger happening, triggering it by the actual result yet so far in the year 2025. Speaking of the result being EU collapsing, EU ceasing to exist. The reason for it is, now we're talking major arcana all the way with the Death card and the Judgment card together. Now that's quite something. The Judgment card and the Death card, that's a big one. The Judgment card talks about dead bodies, just to start with. I mean, that's a no-brainer. We've got people raising after coffins, and there is multiple people in the coffins. Multiple deaths. We have a Death card as well, so multiple deaths, multiple people, big groups of people departing to the other realm, dying. The Death card symbolizes the end of, obviously the end is not the end, sometimes it's a transformation, a decision. But then we have the Empress, and the Empress talks of wealth. Sometimes the Empress talks about some sort of manipulation as well. The Empress could symbolize a female politician or female public figure as well, but how much damage can one person do? It could symbolize a country that is ruled by a queen or has a queen, so again we're talking about some sort of monarchy. And then we've got the Judgment card, which is Judgment card doesn't, well, solely, if it wasn't with this card, Judgment card would talk about things coming up to the surface, things that were hidden, buried underneath the ground, hidden from the human eye. And sometimes it symbolizes the situations and the hidden agendas that are coming up to a surface. Dead bodies falling off the cupboard. Like you're trying to hide some dead bodies in a cupboard and pretend that everything is just fine, and then the cupboard opens and it's like bum bum bum. Dead bodies are on the carpet and everybody can see them. This is the kind of situation. But then, how to be optimistic? How to be optimistic having this right next to the Judgment card? It really screams mass deaths. Also, it could show, well, the Judgment card talks about the masses of people rising, so there could be potentially protests, demonstrations, big groups of people kicking off. But this is an unexpected event. This is all of a sudden. And we have the Death card. So, the consequence on the EU is kind of taking it slow. EU disassembling is taking it slow. Things are not so easy. You cannot really end it right here, right there, right now, because it's way too complex. It's like being in a toxic relationship and not being able to exit just like that, because there's just so many things to resolve, like divorcing someone, having children, and a house together, and a company together. It's kind of like that. There's just too many things that are holding those countries together, that it is very difficult just to exit just like that. But the thing that triggers it, that's a big thing. Because here we've got, like I said before, with EU collapsing or not collapsing, none of those cards were major arcanas. Now, the thing that is actually causing the EU starting to disintegrate, we're talking major arcanas only, and well, that's a big bang. That's something that the Judgment card, you see there is an angel blowing a horn to the point that it wakes up the dead. It is something that is really loud and really shocking, and it wakes up the dead people, right? So this is something that is shocking. You can't miss it. And we have the smoke, we have the clouds here again. Notice that there is clouds, and we have the Death card, and the Death card again has some ships on the background, some boats. And I'm trying to understand the Empress in this setup. You know, Empress very often suggests that one thing is loving and helping and nurturing, another thing is controlling and manipulating. Sometimes even us as individual human beings, we tend to mix one with another. Sometimes one looks like another. Sometimes love and care looks like sometimes the manipulation and control looks like love and care. Sometimes caring for your children, your loved ones, you kind of need to control the situation and control them as well. And there is a very thin line in between the good and the bad, what is beneficial and what is actually toxic in this scenario. And here we've got the masses of people with the Death card, and Death card doesn't always symbolize death. Sometimes it symbolizes illness, sickness, maybe even what's the word for it? Civilizational diseases. Probably not the right word for it, but I think you get the hint. And the diseases that come with the growth and expansion of civilizations, such as cancer, autoimmune diseases, fuck knows syndromes that nobody knows where it comes from and how to cure it, that are basically linked to the poison in the water, in the food and environment in general, that nobody wants to talk about. Possibly this could link to that as well. The Empress is a very interesting thing. The Empress is someone who also creates a lot of things. EU is a weird structure where each country is allowed to create this much of a certain thing that is assigned to them. So before, some certain types of cheeses would be produced a bit in Poland, a bit in Greece, a bit somewhere else, and you would have different versions of the same product. Since EU took over, certain products were only allowed to be produced in one country. There would be a limit of how much can be produced. Also, there is the policy of EU sometimes limits even the farmers who are. It's just not worth it for them to produce, to farm, to plant and grow and harvest their crops, just because of the regulations. And if the regulations weren't there, they would be able to sell things at the market price that would balance itself out. But because of certain regulations, sometimes we would be getting, the prices would be dictated, and farmers in certain areas of Europe would find it not beneficial to farm at all. Therefore, farming would just collapse in there. The Empress also talks about children, about motherhood, but maybe I'm going too far with it. I guess this is the moment to wrap up the reading today, and I will be making more of this kind of videos, so stay tuned. I will put it in one folder that is global readings, so anything that has to do with global situations, yearly readings, political situations also is going to appear there. If you happen to have an idea of what you would like me to read for, feel free to write that in the comment and I'll take it on board. And for now, I'll wrap up the reading and I'll see you next time. Good luck, bye.